Hi everyone, this is Priyanka working as Assistant Professor in SNS College of Engineering. Today we are going to see about cybersecurity safeguards and security services in the subject cryptography and cybersecurity. First of all, let's see about message authentication. Message authentication is concerned with protecting the integrity of a message, validating identity of originator, non-repudiation of original, then it will consider the security requirements. Next, let's see what are all the requirements required here. First, measure to deal with first two attacks, that is in the realm of message confidentiality and the addressed with the encryption. Next is measures to deal with the item 3 through 6. Here the message authentication. Next is measure to deal with item 7, that is digital signature. Next, measures to deal with items 8, that is digital signature and protocol to the counter the attack. These are all the requirements as we see. First is a disclosure, next is traffic analysis, next is masquerade, then content modification, then sequence modification, then time modification, then source repudiation, and finally destination repudiation. Let's see about message authentication and digital signature in detail. Here the message authentication is produced to verify that messages come from the alleged source and have not been altered. Message authentication may also verify sequencing and timeless. Here the digital signature. Digital signature is an authentication technique that also includes measures to counter repudiation by either source or destination. Next is authentication function. Here the authentication function means message authentication or digital signature mechanism can be viewed as having two levels. At lower level, there must be some sort of function producing an authenticator, a value to be used to authenticate a message. This lower function is used as primitive in a higher level authentication protocols. Here are three classes of functions that produce an authenticator, that is hash function, message encryption, and message authentication code. First, let us see about the hash function. Hash function, it is a public function that maps a message of any length into a fixed length hashing values which serves as an authenticator. Next comes the message encryption. It mainly here is a ciphertext items serves as authenticator. Next is message authentication code, that is MAC, that is a public function of the message and a secret key that provides a fixed length value that serves as an authenticator. These are the three classes of functions that produces an authenticator. Next comes the message encryption. Here the message encryption can serve as authenticator. Here the conventional encryption provides authentication as well as confidentiality. It mainly requires recognizable plain text or other structure to distinguish between well-formed legitimate plain text and meaningless random bits. Here the examples are ASCII text and appended checksum or used of layered protocols. Here comes the basic uses of message encryption. First is a conventional encryption, that is confidentiality and authentication. Next is public key encryption, that is confidentiality. Next is public key encryption, that is authentication and signature. And then finally this is public key encryption, confidentiality, authentication and signature. These are all the four uses of message encryption. Let's see the ways of providing the structure. Mainly append on error detection code, that is FCS, that is frame check sequence to each message. First is the internal error control. Next is the external error control. Let's see these are the difference between the internal and as well as the external error control. Next comes the ways of providing structure. Suppose all the datagrams except the IP address header is encrypted. If an opponent substitutes some arbitrary bit pattern, this is a diagram represents the way of providing the structure. Here it mainly consists of source point, destination port, then sequence number, acknowledgement number, data effort, and reserved, flags, window, checksum, urgent pointer, then options, padding, then application data, etc. Next, these are all the confidentiality and authentication implication of message encryption. It consists of conventional encryption, public key encryption. Thank you.